Hello, collective. Welcome to your timeless reading. Please bear in mind a few things before we get started. Please know this is one of two of my channels. This is mostly a reading for Bastet, or this channel more or less is more for Bastet's energy. So if you're over on my other channel, 𝗖𝘀𝗵𝗔𝗽𝗪, I send you over to this channel if you're looking for any type of emotional redemption. For that, it is going to cover more quote-unquote shadow aspects, the darker versions of our ego, the aspects of ourselves we don't like to really address or bring attention to. So this channel is about those types of energies. So seventh is the energy reading. However, where it's coming from will be of Bastet's making. To understand what Bastet is to understand that she is the ruler of mastering the darkness, her being of light, but just mastering the darkness because of all the things that she has experienced. So in the honoring of Bastet's energy, she will force you to pay attention to your own narrative, and that narrative might be very uncomfortable for you. In the way that you show up to listen to a possible narrative that might be yours is what may bring you here at this time. So please understand that anything that is spoken from past, present, and or future energetical timelines could all be applied to you. Feminine and masculine energies may also apply to you, for we all are out of these energies of expression of femininity and masculinity, no matter what kind of gendered bodied representation you are of that. If you'd like any of my services, please know that I pretty much can handle any type of tarot reading you'd like, or I offer myself up for remote healing sessions. And ways to book an appointment with me is to check out the description box below, or also check out that box to see whether or not you're interested in a second channel of mine. And hopefully you're intrigued by both sets of styles of reading and want to tag along on the journey. So collective, to understand what this kind of energy means, you already may be feeling it. All right, that's one way to tap into what it is, what we're looking for, what we're looking at, how to process things. Too many people are looking for an actual title to be able to be coerced in, right? So as readers, we're very indicative to being very I don't want to say methodical, but we want to have some sort of methodical approach to titling a reading, so that way we can hopefully get an audience in the way that we were able to put a title on something. It's the same way that an author wants to figure out a right word or words for their book, so that way when it sits on a shelf, it intrigues individuals that are passed by. It's a topic of conversation, and it's just an eye catcher. So there is no eye catcher wow factor for life right now, because the wow factor is how damning life is and how chiseled it is to always go easier to thinking it's negative for those who experience a lot of bullshit. The negativity isn't a flaw to look at life negative. It is the ability to not see what has been done with you conquering the negative. And conquering the negative is to understand you are above a narrative, and that narrative dictates, like the puppeteer masters, how things are played along with and how they really move across the board. But if you stay above the narrative, you tap into a time of consciousness that is indicative to time and travel and time and space and here and now, of not needing it. That you become aware of other things to understand why the whys are occurring, how the hows are occurring, when the whens are occurring, what the whats are occurring, who is occurring, and being able to just allow yourself to go with that flow, because you're trying to understand how the narrative wants to keep the quote-unquote narrative going. All of that has no bouts of feeling, whether it's of joy or of anger, because the wow factor is the audacity, and then the struggle is the feeling. So in order to for us to understand what is the issue, was to figure out what brought you here and keeps you here until the reading is done, and you leave the reading behind, and you become impacted in one way or another to try to remember your own narrative, try to remember your own narrative, how to create a narrative. What is the narrative? Is it good? Is it bad? And overall, get a sense of dialogue around what we call the void. The void is a space of nothing where everything comes from. And everything comes from nothing, and everything returns into nothing, which means the word nothing isn't nothing. It's filled with everything. So please remember that as we go into the reading now. You can't escape darkness, okay? It's like wanting to get away from the shadow being casted as the sun, as you're getting a suntan, all right? The funny thing is about getting a suntan, if you're sitting on the beach or laying down on the beach, you might actually not see your shadow because the shadow is directly underneath you, right? It's too much light. There's not enough of the right angle for light to not get somewhere and cast a big shadow. So that irony knows time and space of quantum reading. If you read something like in a quantum existence, it has no angle, because the angle of expression is the quantum expression of that existence, of that thing that we're looking at. So to seek identity right now is important in not being afraid of allowing your mind, spirit, and body to run with the dialogue that it wants to run with, because it will give your sense of internal galactic light integrity to show up for itself and see what it can handle from the inside out, because you know from the outside in, things are just not working for you. So we have to do deep, heavy work, deep, heavy, I would say, focus. You know, being aware of consciousness is being meditative, all right? Any moment of the day, any second that your eyes are awake or sleeping, you can choose for that second to be a meditative focus, a meditative awareness. You don't necessarily have to schedule a time out to get yourself in tune with any possible energies, all right? There is no, you need to practice these and these and these for this type of structure in order to get this factoring. The universe and the galactic quantitative quality that she has available, it doesn't work that linearly. The expression of what we're capable of in having linearly is what we're physically capable of achieving, whether or not we have the right DNA code, whether or not we have the sameness of frequency to embody something in order to express it. It's kind of the tipsy-turny here because it's quantitative energy of a quantum reality. So that quantum reality, again, is indicative to now want to see in a human perspective, how can I reach my quantitative, my quantum energy? And my quantum energy is trying to communicate with you, human vessel, that it doesn't like the limits and boundaries you give yourself for being interested in reconnecting with your quantum self. For that, it is a flow, and the flow of energy goes through you and continuously, and the only stoppage for things to not work for you is your inability to let go. So there's a huge part of this reading where these energies will mature over time, and every stage of the maturation is a loss. So the loss is really important to teach you that that loss was necessary for you to understand the value of having had it, the value of impossibly for something to return, or the value of never taking anything too seriously that life has to offer. There's a major need to break into the awareness of your quantitative self, okay? To understand the quality here of life that you have here with the Four of Wands. And, hold on, give me 1 second. And the need to tap into galactic understanding of what masculinity is in the eyes of galactic power, of what femininity is in the eyes of galactic power and influence, and having them just be the pinnacle source of where you are essentially getting your version of expression from. Whether you believe it to be God, a God source or something, it really is absolutely pointless to the reason as to why we share a commonality with one another. That's something as random as such, without any form of introductory needed. We are here sharing a moment that if you, listener, come across this randomness, you may agree with it too, is exactly what ether is trying to explain in galactic light. You can't ever disconnect. You can't disconnect it. And so many people are afraid of reconnecting with something that will never make you feel alone. So the need to get a better handle of your third eye, a better understanding what it means, having someone maybe like really sit down with you and really on a spiritual note travel the sensations of your physical self, so that way you understand what the power of influence of frequency means to come from you. Yeah, strength card. All right, you are the human expression of what gods have created over time. And there is nothing that you can do. Look at that, Four of Wands here again. The need to stay in your lane is important. The need to venture away from your lane is just as important. The way to coalesce and appreciate everyone's yin and yang of swaying and motion and shit like that is a need to be able to not be afraid of using quote-unquote harsher words to describe it and think you're taking beauty away from it. No, you can say this is fucking beautiful and not be insulted by the fact that I said the word fuck. There's a level of needing to understand language is absolutely binary for how non-binary the galactic world wants to and does operate. Seven of Cups, disillusionment, illusions, second-guessing yourself, second-guessing your overall connection to everything, figuring out whether there is a God, questioning the God that is present in your life or absent in your life, or an absence of other people, questioning the overall divinity and purpose of self, trying to understand the many dialogues of dissatisfaction, distaste, and treachery, trying to understand how to not look disaster in the eye, but knowing how to conquer it by taming its wild spirit with the Six of Pentacles. She has her eyes closed here. She's being the equilibrium of justice with those scales. She's not looking at the situation at hand, but she's there to tame the energy here. It's like her stage for about to becoming best friends with the inner lion, the inner wolf. There's a lot of need here to sit with Mother Nature and talk with your ancestors. Talk with the representation of the bloodlines that have some sort of interconnectedness with you in this realm of time and space of your lifetime, to get a better understanding as to what might be your purpose, because some of you are still dangerously afraid of being unsure about your destiny, what your purpose is. Is there a fulfillment of this type of journey? And all those kind of worries are coming from external sources. They've been implanted upon you. They're not coming through you. And the ether is having a hard time, also a wild time, in showing you how you are not taking yourself very seriously. No, you're injured in the way that you're not taking yourself seriously. Like, I understand that getting here required you taking yourself seriously. That's not, however, we're addressing. We're addressing a bit the part where your soul is disconnected from your ego. And your ego has won. All right? Your ego understands trauma and the need to bypass trauma, or to heal it, or to function with the existence of it. Maybe even in the same room, maybe in the same bloodline. Your ego is very well aware of that. Your soul is the one that's asking for different. And your soul is asking for you to connect with galactic light, rather than the words and lights coming from spoken mouths of human tongue. Because the human tongue is biased. Galactic light is not. Four of Cups, asking you to reconnect, going into the meditative state of dancing with internal vibration of that which you feel and see, becoming one with the silence of the earth vibration and the loudness that happens at the same time, understanding why it exists in that time and space with you while you are seeking peace. Trying to seek peace in the moment of peace is exactly what you may need to hear in order to stretch your consciousness awareness to the point where both possibilities exist at one point in time. And that's when you travel that stream of consciousness and understand what you need to understand from that. It will make sense from whomever it will make sense to and for. There's a need to anoint someone's crown, your head, protect your head, all right? This could be wearing a turban. This could be sunglasses, but more so someone's hiding behind sunglasses too much, right? Taking your sunglasses off, not putting them on. Because there's an avoidance here of being also technically, at the end of the day, a bit afraid of the tower energy. There's something you're not looking straight in the eye, because if you were to, everything else would fall. Is the only eye that's making absolute direct contact with me, besides this one, but she knows she's distracted in taming the lion. So the only one that is giving me direct eye contact is this individual, and it's behind something, as in it's not a clear vision. The person is not in 3D. It is an ideology. It is an idea, and it's almost to say, I'm ready to come in and forge with you, but you need to make actual eye contact with my existence for it to be actually something to come in and move you from a situation that may not work for you into a situation that may work better for you. If you don't look something in the eye with what you think is the button to push your fear, then you will continuously be in a loophole and call it your own version of heaven. But that loophole is a loophole because it's not giving you free, because you can't look into the eyes of someone. It's almost like loving someone and not liking them. 5 of Cups, look at that, Knight of Cups. Feeling really weighted down by feeling disconnected by what is, but you're not hearing the message that ether cannot communicate besides what you express, because she's the outcome of. So she cannot communicate with low vibrational being, and right now the low vibrational being is you. So you looking for high vibrational things by praying or throwing your energies into mantras is almost illegitimate to the cause, because you yourself are not at that vibration, yet you're asking to be in that vibration. You're asked to be seen, to be propelled to be in that vibration. But what are you actually doing to quote unquote deserve the assistance to get back up and move on? I think for that, you're waiting on ether to do the job for you. And you need to understand, you need to show up and do the job yourself. Yeah, you need to go do the work yourself. And you can, because the 9 of Cups here is a card that says, the things that I wish for, I'm realizing they're coming into fruition. So this is saying that the quest that you're anticipating is coming back and returning to you, because this is an inner child awakening. This is an inner child calling being upheavaled, and your intuition is going to test you by seeing whether you human can realize it's your intuition coming back to you. Your intuition taking hold on all the things you foresee to overcome, to come for you in the future, building dreams and wonderful imaginations at the end of the day, that although they're triggered by fear, the outcome of the visual is beautiful, and you've been holding on to that idea. And seeing that sensation come back to you at this time will give you the confidence and power to be more so of the Knight of Cups, because what you're doing is you're allowing yourself to get literally that emotional redemption. That emotional redemption can only be found once you explode into all of your feelings, but not in an action form, not in a reaction form, but a need to discipline and see what those actions desire from you. So that way, when they take you somewhere where you can foresee it might not be good, you turn the bad into good, and you've conquered your shadow. Very oversimplified, but for you to understand the general term of what that means, it just unfortunately has to be oversimplified. Temperance energy and Virgo. I mean, Virgo up here is galactic energy. Temperance is the wild child that knows too much, asking you all to fucking heal, while you are listening out to this wild child and saying, how are you so awesome at being awesome, and cussing, and just a wild child that, how do you have the powers and I don't? And what you don't see is that you truly don't believe that you have the same power as the other. Emotional redemption is what you're looking for, all right? 9 of Pentacles, knowing that the right here and right now is exactly the way that you've come over. You're getting over the need to be emotionally codependent, the need to fear that you won't get an end or reach an end to your emotional suffering, your physical suffering, your spiritual suffering. You may have been told over and over again that things will get better and they just haven't yet. And that's because you're listening out to a narrative instead of writing the narrative. Because if you wrote the narrative for yourself, you would realize you're rekindling with your own light, 6 of Cups energy, to remember, recalibrate, re-experience something, and not listening out to this and wanting another source to actually make its way to you. Like, thinking this is a love reading, and because you love so deeply, someone will be that reconciliation factor and bring you closure. That's not necessarily the point of it. In the problem's sake of the situation, it would be the point of it. Like, if you got into an argument and it started with the other person, not you, and there is a moment of time where someone is held responsible for creating this argument, you need to learn, I guess, in that moment, how to react. But reacting in pure galactic vibration. And when doing so, you know that you can't really be fucked with. It's very interesting. I just went into like a huge void here. Yeah, man, this is intense because you're very tired. Whomever is listening to this, you're very tired. You can talk a lot. You can run yourself very dry. Your highs could be really high and your lows could be extremely low. And for you to function as a regular, normal, day-to-day person has been anchoring for someone here. It's very frustrating for someone to live in this type of existence over and over and over again and try to find joy, try to find recollection and reconnection. It's hard for a specific person. And what Ether is asking you for that is to remember what it's like for you to be a child, whatever it is that you remember, because there's an innocence coming through and you remembering your time spent as a child, where that side of existence, that sort of existence that wanted to permeate itself, has had a huge role in defining who you are, because you could never really take the imaginations of your childlike innocence and expression and really be able to do anything then. I mean, you may not have had the money to think about all these ideas you had and have them implemented, right? Some things get rehashed, rekindled over time. Maybe as a child you wanted to be a veterinarian. And then as you grew, you didn't, but maybe you've become a nurse or something else. And what Ether is asking you to do with these innocent moments is for you to travel your consciousness with sensory sensation, because your inner child now has something to say. It's your inner child that's making its way back to you. Okay, I'm not seeing an outside person. I'm seeing you needing coming back to yourself. Another 5 of Cups here. It's lots of heaviness here. 4 of Swords here again. Mother of Pentacles. a lot of aspects that are not easily talked about. Maybe you don't have, again, enough money to go to counseling or seeking therapy or seeking social interaction because it's just costly. But ultimately, redefining your sense of attitude and awareness now, having listened to something like this, will allow you to pay attention to a different form of getting your money. Yeah. 7 of Pentacles. As you slowly leave the reading behind, you're slowly going to integrate yourself with a different type of light language, which will make you more courageous, more excited, more ready to apply yourself. To the deck that I created, look at that, we wage. Talk about money. We hide, we grant, we stare, we benefit. You're not dreaming. Maybe it's transparency I need. And every stop sign has a message. Alright, collective, that is all that I have for you at this time. If you'd like any of my services, please check out the description box below or check out my other channel. Either way, I'm wishing you a wonderful morning, noon, or night, wherever you are in the ether of this time and space. And may you keep flowing, growing, and glowing.